Okay, so get ready, because today we're going deep on something pretty wild.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to be talking about what would happen if Earth's gravity suddenly doubled.
Like just out of the blue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute things are normal, and the next, bam, everything's twice as heavy. We're
Yeah.
talking twice the G-force, you
Right.
know?
Which is how we measure, the force of gravity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're basing this deep dive on this really cool article called "What If Earth's Gravity Suddenly Doubled?"
It's a pretty crazy thought experiment.
So can you even imagine, like you're just waking up in the morning
Reaching for your phone.
and suddenly you can barely move?
It'd be like
Like,
like trying to swim through molasses or something.
seriously. Even rolling over in bed would be a workout.
Oh, absolutely. Forget rolling over. Just imagine trying to get out of bed.
Oh, man. You'd practically need a crane to lift you up.
And your morning coffee, you wouldn't even be able to lift the mug.
It's crazy to think that something as simple as our morning routine would become impossible.
It would be like an Olympic sport just to get dressed.
And it's not just the everyday stuff, right? Think about the strain on our bodies.
Our bones and muscles are just not designed for that kind of pressure.
I mean, we're already kind of falling apart with normal gravity.
Right. We'd be seeing a lot more broken bones and torn muscles.
And just imagine trying to walk.
Each step would feel like you're carrying a backpack full of rocks.
We'd probably all end up crawling around.
Well, we'd have to. It would take so much effort just to stay upright.
And speaking of things falling apart, what about our buildings and bridges?
Oh, man. Our entire infrastructure is built for Earth's normal gravity. Doubling that would be catastrophic.
So we're talking like bridges collapsing?
Buildings crumbling.
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
It would be like a global earthquake.
And the article mentioned something about the atmosphere too, right? Like breathing would become harder.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. So with double the gravity, the atmosphere would actually get compressed.
Compressed.
Yeah, so basically all the air would be squeezed into a smaller space.
So there'd be less air for us to breathe.
Kind of. The air itself wouldn't change, but the way it behaves would, it would feel thinner and the air pressure would be different.
So how would that affect our breathing?
Well, the amount of oxygen in the air would stay the same, but the pressure would make it harder for our lungs to extract it.
So it'd be like trying to breathe on a mountaintop.
Exactly, except it would be like that everywhere, all the time.
Wow, so not only are we struggling to move, but we can't even breathe properly.
And it would make things like flying pretty much impossible.
Oh yeah. Planes need all that air to generate lift.
Right. With a thinner atmosphere, planes would struggle to take off, and even if they did, it would be incredibly dangerous.
So no more jet-setting vacations. This is starting to sound like a disaster movie.
Well, it would definitely be a major upheaval. And speaking of upheaval, what do you think would happen to nature?
Oh man, I can't even imagine trees wouldn't stand a chance.
You're right. They'd be under so much stress that they'd just topple over.
It would be like a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
Whole forests would just collapse.
And the animals? They'd have a really tough time, too.
I mean, imagine trying to run or fly with twice the gravity.
It would be like constantly running through mud.
Everything would be so much harder.
But that's also kind of the fascinating part, because life finds a way.
Right. You're talking about adaptation.
Yeah. If this happened, we'd see some incredible evolutionary changes animals would have to adapt to survive in this new world.
So maybe we'd see animals with stronger skeletons or muscles.
Or maybe they'd evolve to move in completely different ways. Who knows?
That's like something out of science fiction.
But it's also a reminder of how resilient life is. It's constantly adapting and changing.
So even though this gravity shift would be catastrophic, it's not necessarily an extinction level event.
It would be a huge challenge, but life would find a way to persist.
It would be a completely different world, though.
A world where everything we know about physics and biology would be turned on its head.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think about.
It really makes you wonder what humans would do in that situation.
Like, would we just give up?
I doubt it. We're pretty resourceful. I bet we'd find a way to adapt.
Maybe we'd invent anti-gravity devices or something.
Or maybe we develop new forms of transportation that could handle the increased gravity. Who knows?
It's fun to speculate, but it's also a little terrifying.
Oh, definitely. But that's part of what makes this so interesting. It really makes you think about the fragility of our world and the incredible power of nature.
And it makes you appreciate how perfectly balanced our planet is. For now, anyway.
That's for sure. Well, until gravity decides to switch things up on us.
Well, on that note, I think we've explored enough of this doubled gravity world for today.
I think so, too. It's been a wild ride.
But hey, that's what deep dives are all about, right? exploring the what-ifs and pushing the boundaries of our imagination.
Exactly. And who knows? Maybe someday we'll have to face these challenges for real.
Well, if that ever happens, let's hope we're ready for it.
Let's just hope we never have to find out.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into a world with double gravity.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep looking up and wondering about the what-ifs.
Because you never know what the universe might throw at us next.
See you on the next deep dive.
Goodbye.